Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by today's video title, today is going to be a review slash almost like a haul of some brushes I've recently got from Sigma. So back in probably about November-ish time, they released the Face Architecture brush collection, and it was all focused around contouring and highlighting. And there were 7 brushes in the collection, and I decided to buy them all. Why? I don't know, but I decided to buy them all, and I decided that I was going to give you guys a review. Since this is going to be up like after Christmassy time, I figure if you guys got gift cards to Sigma or you got some Christmas money or holiday money that you wanted to spend, I would give you my personal opinion. Again, this is my opinion, no one else's. Just what I think of the brushes maybe you should look into purchasing, and the ones maybe you should kind of, push to the side that you don't really need. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off this video and we'll just jump right in. So first I'm going to talk about the brushes that I think are a must, absolutely, and then the brushes that, you could probably do without. So first off, I'm gonna start with this brush, which is the Soft Angled Contour F23 brush, which I have been absolutely loving lately. So as you can tell, it's a little bit larger and it's softer, kind of fluffy, not as dense. And so this is great personally that I like it, is really to get sort of like a half contoured bronze look. So I'll just use it like a nice shimmery bronzer, and I'll put that in the hollows of my cheeks. And it's not so precise that it'll make it look like a contour, but it's precise enough that it puts the bronzer in the places that you want and leaves it, it does not put it in the places you don't want. That can happen when you have like a larger brush, one of those really fluffy brushes. So I like this. It's kind of like a hybrid between like a big fluffy brush and like a nice stiff contour brush. So this is really great if you're just looking to kind of bronze and get like more of a precise bronze. And so I've actually been really loving this lately, and I use this with just any bronzing powder on a day-to-day basis when I don't want to contour. So this is the first one I'd definitely recommend you getting from the Face Architecture brush collection. Again, it's the F23. Okay, the next brush I want to talk about is the Emphasize Contour F57 brush. Now, I am recommending this brush, but it has its like plus and minuses. I wanted to tell you what I liked and what I didn't like about this brush, because it does have its faults, but I think overall it's a really good purchase for you to get. So for me, when I like to bake, I like to put my contour down, and then I like to go under, obviously, with a lighter, like highlighting powder to bake. We all know how to bake. So I'll do that, and I'll also just sometimes put my contour there with another brush, and this is really good to buff it out. It does a very nice job of buffing out the contour. Right now I did it, and you can't see any lines. It's just nice and blended. The problem about this brush though is it's not great at application, because as you can probably tell, it's angled. It's not flat, so when you go into the powder, it's really hard to pick it up. It kind of displaces it. Like this whole middle part here that's kind of in the middle of that curve doesn't pick up any product. So if you go to place it on your face, it's only at the beginning and the end of where you want to put the bronzer, right? So I wouldn't use this for necessarily picking up the product and then applying, but I would use it to kind of buff it out, and I think it does a really nice job of doing that. So if you're looking for a brush to do that, I would absolutely recommend this one. Okay, the next brush is something that has I've seen a lot of other brushes like this. Like I've seen a Morphe brush like this, and it is the Chisel and Trim Contour F77. So it just looks like this, a nice flat, stiff, precise brush. This brush is really good for placing the color on your cheeks. So I actually used both of these today. I used this to place the color, and then this to buff it out to give it more natural. This is really small and thin, as you can see, so it wouldn't give a super natural look unless like you kind of went up and down and buffed it around. That one is big enough so that it just gets everywhere. So this I would use to apply my contour color. What I don't like about this brush is how it applies the baking powder. So I've seen people using this method, using a brush like this under their contour to bake their face. Personally for me, I don't see it picking up product that well, at least with something that's super loose, like the Laura Mercier setting powder. So for that, whenever I would do that, it just wouldn't place the color. So I actually at first didn't really like this brush, and then I decided to put my contour on with it, and I loved it. So that's really what I would use this brush for. It doesn't pick up like a loose powder really well, but anything that's like kind of in a tin, like any kind of contour would be, it does a good job of picking that up and just placing that right there. So again, this is the Chisel and Trim Contour F77, and this is a must for sure. Last of the 7 that I would absolutely recommend is the High Cheekbone Highlighter F03. This has changed my life, not changed my life, but this has replaced any highlighter brush that I ever used before. I absolutely love how it's tapered and how it's small, so I can pick up the product and just place it on my cheek exactly where I want it, down my nose, anywhere I want to put highlight. I love this brush so much. Seriously, I use this every single day, and this, out of all of them, is my go-to favorite brush for sure. This is a must if you don't have a nice highlighter brush that you already love. I personally don't like those fan brushes or anything like that. This, to me, this replaces the brush that I was using before. As you can see, it's kind of basically the same size. This one's a little bit taller. It's just like slightly denser, which I like for packing on color. So this is a must. Love it so much, and for sure, out of all of them, you should get this one, the F03. So now going on to the ones that I wasn't a huge fan of. First and foremost, I'm just going to talk about this one. It is the Spotlight Duster F37. This is supposed to be for highlighting, and actually it's supposed to be for strobing. Personally for me, I'm not an everyday, like I don't do makeup as my job. If I did, I could see a use for this because there's so many different techniques you would use on a daily basis as a makeup artist, and strobing is one of them. So for those of you who don't know, strobing is just like an intense highlight. So something that if I would want to strobe my face, I would take my highlighter and it would just apply all here instead of being so precise like the other brush was, just on the tops of my cheekbones. It would go onto my cheeks and I would just have this nice, really intense highlight. That's not something that I want to do every single day. So for me, I don't love this brush, and it's so flimsy that I can't use it to set my under eye. I like a little bit of a smaller, more dense brush to do that with my under eye powder. But I mean, if you are in the makeup industry, I think this is going to be a great brush for you to do kind of everyday makeup and stuff like that. But for me, for someone who just kind of does makeup on an everyday basis on myself, this isn't a necessity for me. So I personally would pass on this brush if I were to purchase all of this again. So these next two, I actually don't dislike. I just haven't used them that much since I've gotten them. So the first one is the Extreme Structure Contour F04, and it is this dense, tiny, basically tapered brush. So for me, I would use this for cream contouring, for picking up a cream contour in its pan and placing it exactly where I want on my face. The only problem is I don't own cream contour right now except for the sticks. So I don't have a use for this right now. I want to get the Anastasia Cream Contour Kit, and then I will see that I will use this brush a lot, but until that moment, I haven't really been using it that much. I'm sure I could use it with my powders, but for me, this bristle, as compared to these ones that are on here, this one is more for powder, and this is so dense, it's going to be good for creams. So, I mean, you could always use it for powder, but I'm kind of waiting to use it for a cream, and I haven't really picked it up that much. But I think if you're really into cream contouring, this is going to be a really nice brush for you to just kind of apply it and then use something else to buff it out. So this is the F04, and as of right now, I would pass on this one. And the last brush in the Face Architecture collection that I would pass on is the Accentuate Highlighter F56. So a couple things with this brush. This is supposed to be a highlighter. Okay, you're supposed to pick up your highlight and highlight with this. That's a little weird to me. It's the same shape as the other one that I would recommend for blending out your contour. it's just smaller and more dense, and it's the same brush like hairs that the other one was that I would recommend doing a cream for. So personally, if I had creams, I would use that one to apply it, and I would use this one to buff it out. I would not personally use this as a highlight. This is just like a very precise, like I'm gonna pack on my highlight right here kind of thing, and I don't need that. So for me, I don't see a ton of use for this every single day. However, I think if you do use cream contour on a regular basis, then this is going to be a really nice way to blend out your cream contour. So that's the F56. And that does it. So those were the 7 brushes in the Face Architecture collection by Sigma. So again, this is just for me, someone who does makeup on an everyday basis. I don't do makeup for a living or anything like that. So these are the brushes that I feel like I would use on an everyday basis, or at least a weekly basis. The other ones maybe I don't use so often, but I know that someone who is in the makeup industry and is using brushes and needs them for different things every single day would use. So all of these brushes are great brushes to have. Sigma in general is a great brand, and I would absolutely recommend all of their brushes, but I'm just letting you know my opinion on the ones if you just are doing makeup every day and you're kind of just first starting out, which ones are really good ones to get and to have in your collection. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Leave them down below about the brushes or anything else. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of these videos, definitely subscribe. I'll have an annotation right here for you to subscribe, and you can also just go to my channel, click subscribe, and you can see more of these videos. I'll have a lot more to come. I hope you guys enjoyed again, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.